what you want when you're looking for dogs. He says, well, when we do the test, he said 50 or 60 German Shepherds brought over from Germany. They're like 8 or 9 months old. They're doing these tests. He says, what we do is we play fetch, and we want the dog that needs water, but wants to fetch so bad that he will bypass his need for water to continue to play fetch. And I thought to myself, this is a major problem. So driven that they will bypass their physical needs to continue to do the thing. And he said, we need that because we need them to work 36 hours straight sometimes to finish a job. And I said, okay, so let me run this through my head. If I breed a dog that is so driven to not get water, you're telling me he's going to be chasing birds on the mountain when this family's hiking, and he's going to be falling over because he's dehydrated, and they aren't going to know to manage that, right? Border Patrol agents are trained to manage that.
Welcome to NWA Connie Corsos podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
Welcome back to another show. This time we got Mrs. Julie Swan. How are you, young lady?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Joe.
Hey, I'm so glad to have you here. On my show, I always say I don't like to talk the business of dogs, selling puppies. My audience has been knowing it for about the last 3 years that's not my cup of tea. I think as far as my audience, I always say that's the last thing we need, right? But I've been wrong. I've been wrong. I've been kind of looking at the landscape of things. And of course, I've been seeing you for a few years. I've seen a lot of your podcasts, read a lot of your material, and it's definitely on point. So I think it's time to kind of show someone that I respect. And I think that is a real breeder, because there are no disrespect to anyone. I've been doing this a while. Every program like yours is not the same. A lot of guys are not really breeders. And at the end of it, it's some other kind of pivot to go take you to some other kind of sale or franchise program, whatever it may be. But you are a real breeder. You started the hard way, I would say.
It's embarrassing, I know.
So let's start there. How did you start? You accumulated a bunch of dogs all of a sudden.
Yeah, so let me just preface this with would not recommend. Okay, so if you want to start wrong, here's what you do. Okay. So my husband and I, of course, ex-husband now, but husband and I were driving to work one day we worked at the same place, and our maintenance guy comes up to us and he goes, hey, do you want my bird dog? I'm moving to Missouri and I'm going to live in an RV and I can't have 2 German short hairs. And I said, yeah, like trying to be the good wife with my redneck husband from Mississippi. And he was like, always wanted a bird dog. So I was like, yes. So we got this dog, and I almost lost my mind with this dog. He was so much more than the dogs I'd had before. And I had to learn crate training and all these things. And yet he was also perfect at the same time, like super, super birdie, super structurally sound, all these things. And then he was really good with my kids. So this girl comes by my house to buy a goat. I know, ridiculous, but used to breed goats. And here I am trying to sell her a $300 goat, right? And she looks at my dog and she goes, are you thinking of breeding him? And I was like, never thought about it. She said, oh, he's really nice. You should think about it. I breed Dobermans. And I was like, well, tell me more. So anyway, it got me thinking. And, I found out she sold Dobermans for $2,500, which was helpful to understand. But I'm thinking I'm selling a goat for $300. There's 8 Dobermans in a litter for $2,500. Maybe I'm in the wrong industry, right? Yeah. But, that's my business brain talking. So anyway, I contacted his breeder and I was like, hey, would you mind if I bred this dog? And he's like, yeah, no problem. Let me get you the papers. Why don't you come out to my house? And he lived about 3 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband at the time, right, we go out there with the dog, and we came home with 5 more GSPs, like an idiot. And they were all over a year old. One was 5. I don't recommend that either. So anyway, so I had 2 stud dogs. Had no idea how to manage 2 stud dogs. Didn't even know that could be a problem. And 4 females. And within 3 months, I had 3 litters on the ground, 21 puppies. And it was like, hey, welcome to breeding, and just, again, not a good recommendation. Didn't really know what I was doing. And the breeder who had got me started, he made it sound so easy. Oh, it's no problem. We just do everything. You don't have to worry about anything. It was like this giant pitch of false confidence. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's great. It's great. And in fairness, my dogs are really athletic. They breed easy. They whelp easy. That part wasn't too terrible. I just had no idea that anything else went into it. Everybody's, oh, cute puppies sell themselves. Yeah, okay. I took no deposits on the first litter, and that backfired real well. Yeah, nobody, like, at 6 weeks comes around, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, and everybody's like, oh, no, I didn't really want one. I was like, what? Or worse, they just ghost you. And so I was like, wow, this is really bad. So I had all these puppies to sell. And of course, me, I was pregnant. My son was born 2 months later. So this is really, really good timing. Oh. Yeah, just terrible, right? Like, just babies and things and mess and oh my gosh. Yeah. So anyway, but that was my really, really rough start. One of the moms I had, she had very difficult time raising her puppies. And then I started watching her, and I was watching her elbows, and I thought, this isn't quite right. And so, I didn't do health testing ahead of time. I didn't know. And so I decided, just watching her, I didn't like how she moved, and I decided never to breed her again. And unfortunately, however you want to look at it, only 2 puppies from that litter survived. But it's just, right, a rough start. And so I just kind of had this crash course into what breeding was and figuring it out. And yeah, that's where my messy start was.
Yeah. That you got off to a hell of a start.
Mess. I think it was just a mess. Yes.
Yeah, but it made you make it adjustments pretty fast.
Yeah.
And but let me ask you this: there's a culture that when it comes to breeders, like we're like puppy mills and things like that.
Yeah.
Which we know that's not true for everybody.
Sure.
How do you challenge the idea that a breeder who isn't profitable is actually a liability to their dogs and their buyers?
You're saying that they are not profitable?
We are when breeders who aren't profitable.
They are not, sorry.
They are not profitable. Sorry, I'm from the South.
Oh, no, you're good. It's good.
I'm gonna have to put that little bouncy ball.
No, you're good. You have the best sweet tea.
But in essence, what I'm saying is, why is it best to make sure you're profitable in dogs?
100%. I don't even think it's really a question, to be honest with you. I cannot give proper veterinary care. I cannot do anything if I don't have money to back that. I have to have money to back. I have to have it to support my dogs. I don't buy cheap dog food. That comes from somewhere, right? And if my dogs have an issue and they need to go to the vet, we can take them to the vet. I have no problems. And to the point where up until the podcast, it was my full-time job for a long time. And so in making it my full-time job, I'm always available to my buyers. They can text me. They can call me if they have any questions. I had a guy I sold a dog to, a year and a half ago, and his dog, he had a little question about things. The vet wasn't sure. And I was like, oh yeah, we've seen this before. It's really normal. It's part of the growth, whatever. And so I'm just available because I have experience, but I'm also available because I don't have to work somewhere else to compensate, right? Breeding has to provide for itself so that you can provide the best thing for the dogs. To me, it doesn't seem, it's the only way it's sustainable. Right. It's not sustainable if you're not in profit.
Right. So the other day when I talked to you, you mentioned something about transparency and how it may be a double-edged sword. What's the transparency of a dog breeder? What should it look like to you?
Yeah, I think so. Transparency, great, right? And buyers are asking for more and more of this now, sometimes a little misguided, but still good. Transparency is people should know what they're getting. They should know what to expect from you as the breeder. They should know what they can expect with the dog. And they should also know what isn't something that you can cover, right? Like if somebody gets one of my dogs and decides to feed it, some terrible grocery store food every day for 3 years, I can't guarantee that that dog isn't going to have other problems down the road. I can guarantee it probably won't have hip issues or joint, problems, but I can't do much else. And so there's a transparency on what I can offer you, but at the same time, I don't want to do it in a way that takes the responsibility away from the buyers or the owners, right? They still have to have responsibility in the ownership of their dog. That makes them a better owner. It's better for the dog. But people need to know what's going on. They need to know not only like what you're doing for health testing and what you're doing and how you raise your puppies and what you breed your dogs to be, right? Just because I breed bird dogs, there's a whole range of people who get bird dogs. There's the people who are hunting every single day. They're guides. And there's people who are like, I hunt, and they go out maybe once or twice a year with their dog. Those are very different lifestyles, and where that dog lives in that time frame, in between the activity they were bred for, also is very important. And so I'm always looking to say, like, look, my dogs are going to excel here, but they're maybe not going to be the best fit for you here. And that's okay. That's part of that transparency. So,
right.
But at the same time, go ahead.
No, ladies first.
Well, you were suggesting the other day too, like how much do we share? And I think there are certain things that we have, where we have to do them as breeders, right? We have to do certain things as breeders that buyers don't maybe want to hear or understand. And I think that's the part where we have to you're not lying. You're not being dishonest. If you're asked, you can explain. But it doesn't help the buyers understand what they're getting. So an example might be, people want to think that like all my dogs sleep in my bed with me at night. Like that's not happening. My husband would divorce me. So we just don't have dogs in bed. Okay. Yeah. Doesn't mean my buyers can't put their dog in. I don't care what they do, but it's a transparency. They want to think that everything I do is dog related. They think I just want to like everything about my life is lovely puppies climbing all over me. And that's not, it's not what it is. No. And so you have this line where I'm not going to pitch it like I'm sleeping with them. I'm not lying to them saying I'm doing things I'm not, but I'm also probably not going to explain that I don't let my two studs run around together, unless they ask, because, that just isn't going to work with my breed. They'll kill each other. So people think that there are, does that make it bad? And it's like, no, that makes them stud dogs. Like there's nothing wrong about it. But I don't need to, if I have my kid leaves the gate open and I have a dog fight, I'm not going to be like blasting it on Instagram, right? Right. Yeah. Like, these things happen. We have our situations we manage, and sometimes management fails. And so we want to go into it. Now, here's another example, right? I've had parvo. Parvo's terrible in Arizona. I've had parvo several times. And who do I tell that to? I'm not like nursing dying puppies here with parvo and then going on Instagram being like, we're losing the next one. No, right? That's not good for anyone, right? It makes them question what you're doing. It makes them wonder if you have it together, if you even care about what you do. A lot of people think if you get a disease like that you don't care about your dogs. And I think that's really unfortunate. Yeah. And I would tell breeders, it is not that these things happen to you, right? You can't predict these things, but it's much more about how you manage them that matters. So, when I had parvo, I actively found solutions to prevent it from happening, right? I moved where my dogs were at. I changed my cleaning protocols. Later on, I had another round of it when somebody didn't follow my protocols. And when that happened, I dug in further. Of course, for me, I ended up starting to use Neopar and Neotech vaccinations, which, by the way, works 100%, have not had a single problem in 2 years. So those are solutions, right? And so again, so if a buyer asks me and they say, have you ever had parvo? I'm not going to lie. Yes, I have. But here's what we do now. Right. But I'm also not going on the internet being like, hey, so we've all had parvo. Right. These are the balances, right? So I'm not lying, but I don't need to go over the top. Right. Right.
You're right. Because people do start casting judgment, but this is just a lifestyle we live. Things happen. People that handle livestock know things happen, and whatnot. Let me get this one out the way while I was on my mind, because this is a touchy subject. Visitors.
Okay.
How open are you to visitors in today's time? Is it a protocol when these things happen? Tips?
So it really depends on a couple things for you. One, general safety, right? If you are in a location or there are certain breeds of dogs, oddly like Yorkies and some like very tiny, higher end dogs, I guess, that are prone to being stolen. And if you have a situation that looks like you are a high probability for theft, I can completely understand not having people come. But then you need to understand that you look scammy. So we have to overcompensate with transparency in how we show where the puppies are living, or doing FaceTime videos, or whatever we're going to do to show our dogs. So those are the compensation choices. If you're in a place like I am with Parvo, or for example, and you have major biosecurity issues that you're still working out, then you can find a balance. So for me, like I found that my dogs never had Parvo before they were 7 weeks of age. Well, the incubation's 7 days. So I knew for sure they were protected until they were 6 weeks old. So I could allow people to come and handle them up to 6 weeks. I knew they were covered. And then I would not allow visitors the last 2 weeks when I was in that window before I had the Neopar. Now I do allow people to come. They're welcome to do it. I do by appointments. I don't think anybody needs to just be willing to walk right into my house and be like, hey, I want to see puppies now. You know, because that's like another thing, right? Like, you know how it goes. You clean the puppy pen in what, like 7 minutes? Is that about how much you got before it's messy again?
Right.
Like, that's my dog's like.
Right. Yeah. And so, then the breeder needs time to prepare because somebody will make one little turd a big deal. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. Well, you don't clean this all the time. And it's like, well, I'm also on calls and doing other things. My kids have a life. Like, absolutely. Yeah. So there's this like, expectation of what it should be and that the buyer wants to see. And then there's our reality. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, how much of that can we like realistically translate where it will still be understood by our buyers without pushing them to a place where they're like in over their head, Sometimes when I start explaining how vaccines work, buyers start to like, look at me and their eyes gloss over, and maybe they don't care about that as much. Maybe all they need to know is, hey, it takes 14 days for this to work. Just don't take them anywhere for 14 days. Sometimes that's all you need to share. Just depends on your buyers.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm liking the way this conversation going, because it's like we killing two birds with one stone, buyers and breeders' perspective. Yeah. So you're doing a good job with that already. So with that, let me take what you just said and just get a little bit more explanation for buyers. So typically when you buy a puppy from somebody, you're going to want to pretty much First off, you're going to get it inspected by a vet, right? Once you buy a breed.
It depends.
Yeah.
I will be honest with you. For example, I cannot tell you the number of breeders I talked to who had no parvo, no disease problems until they started taking their puppies to the veterinarian. Right. And I will tell you a quick story. When I had a sick puppy with parvo, I'm sitting there waiting on my vet to come in and check on her. The vet tech comes in. She touches my very disgusting, all parvovirus all over her puppy. Okay, puppy. And she takes her temperature. She touches all her tools with the same gloves. And then afterwards comes with those same gloves and hands me the pen. And when I'm done signing, she sticks the pen in her pocket. If she comes into a puppy in the next 20 minutes, that puppy's going to get parvo. And seeing it with people who are trained, I can't. Yeah. I can't in good faith saying that taking every litter or every puppy to the vet makes sense.
Well, yeah, for me, if it's one I'm keeping off my stock, I don't go in there. I just don't until it's time to get my rabies or whatnot. Right. You've been around enough, you've been to enough vets, watching them inspect puppies, checking for testicles and all that. So. But it's a dangerous thing taking them into the vet. Yeah. Very dangerous.
It very can. And so I think it's hard because a buyer will come to us and say, well, where's the vet check? And well, I don't do one. Right. Well, what do you mean? You must be a puppy mill. And it's like, no, I'm not really a puppy mill. I've actually run the risk assessment and it's much lower if I don't take them. And not everybody has mobile vets that can come to their house.
Right.
You know, and there's too many variables.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because I pay my vet extra to come to my house, especially annually, because I'm not taking.
I know.
Take days
like
taking all
you
them
need them on retainer, right?
Yeah, right. So I pay that little extra money, come out here, but everybody doesn't have access to that.
No.
With that said, what was I going to ask you before that?
Well, I think you're talking about how the buyers are wondering, like, what are they looking for? You know, is that what you're getting at? And I just feel like when you talk to a breeder, think of them like somebody who's on your team, right? Like you as the buyer, the owner, you're the CEO. This is your dog. You get to make the decisions, but that breeder's been breeding this line for a while. They know these dogs, and they may not know your dog specifically once you've had them a few months, but they will know their lines. And so it's always great to think of the breeder as a teammate, a resource, somebody on your board of advisors. They're there to support you and help you. They're not there to fix all your problems, right? Like it's your dog, but we're here as a resource. And so when you search and you're shopping for breeders, find somebody you can talk to. Find somebody who's interested in what dog and lifestyle you have that you're looking for that dog to fill. You know, do you have like 3 little kids, or are you like a single owner who works from home? That's a very different personality dog.
Yeah. So in this business, we're trying to attract clients too, but we got to be honest. If we don't feel like they're the right fit, we have to push them away.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on telling a client you might not be the right fit? I got guardian breed dogs. Everybody don't need a Corso. You know
that is very true. There are a lot of dogs.
Certain things they say like, nah.
No, absolutely. Well, your dogs need leadership, right? They need a good leader in the home. And that is there's people who lead out of, maybe the wrong motivations sometimes.
Right.
So what I like to do when buyers call me and I can tell they're not a good fit, sometimes I don't think they're going to give the dog the time of day I want them to give. Sometimes people call me for one of my rat terriers and be like, well, I have a bunch of cars in my backyard. I want it to keep the mice down. I was like, yeah, no, I don't want my dogs there, know? And so I just kind of, I don't think my dogs are going to be a good fit for you. Right. And I make it seem like I will fail them because that is so much easier. Right. If you get a dog from me, you're going to be disappointed. I don't want you to be disappointed. Right. And then that makes it easier. And it's not a them problem. It's a fit problem, because it is always a fit problem. They're not a good fit for you. And that's fine. Like, there are no bad dogs, but there will be a bad dog for you and your family and a good dog for you and your family. And that's the goal, is to find the right dog, not just a dog.
Right. And then anyway, you got to find the right fit, because you will receive those dogs back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's never any fun.
No, it's not. It's really interesting. I teach the ideal puppy buyer concept. And that all came about because I had this wonderful breeding pair, right? They had 11 puppies in that first 21 puppy litters.
Right.
And I got 4 of those dogs back within a year. And that was a big thing to me. I thought, wow, these dogs, they're healthy, they're smart, they're exactly what a bird dog's supposed to be. Like, there's nothing wrong with the dog. So why did they give it back to me? And it all came down to that the dog was not the right fit for the family. There's nothing wrong with either of them. They just weren't a good match. And so if you find yourself in a place where you are getting dogs back, you really need to ask yourself, what was the friction point? What was the friction point that pushed them over the edge? And you're going to find out that it's either an education thing. So, okay, at the very core, it's expectations. They expected a dog would be like this, and they got this. And when that distance and that difference is too big, you'll get the dog back. That's really what it comes down to. So then the question was, who had the wrong expectations? Did you sell the wrong expectations? Oh, it'll just sleep all day. It's not going to jump over your fence. Yeah, right. Those are my dogs. But, so did I set the wrong expectations? Did I essentially mislead them in how I presented my dogs? Sometimes we have a dog that's like a little neurotic. We're like, oh, they're just shy. Like, no, be a little honest about it. Like, he's probably not going to do too well without a lot of confidence building. Share that for them. Tell them where they're going to struggle with the dog, and then let them choose and accept that choice. But then on the other hand, you might find that you love your buyers and your dogs don't work for them. And when that happens, it kind of sucks. But you can change your dogs. You can start selecting for different temperaments in your breeding program. You can bring in different studs or different bloodlines so that you can start adjusting. So what I did is I actually brought in like a German line in my German short hairs, right? So I had mostly American field trial lines. I started bringing in German lines and they had a slower metabolism, so they were easier keepers. They were a little bit thicker, which people like. They were a little more stout. And then, but they were calmer. They didn't really need as much go, go, go. And those bringing that in and having the 50-50 American German lines made for a wonderful dog for my buyers. My buyers thought they would hunt, but didn't hunt as much as they wanted to. The dog would ratchet up. If they want to go, they'd go. But if they couldn't go, the dog would be fine. And that made a big difference. So I ended up loving my buyers and changing my dogs. So
okay.
It worked out good.
Yeah, yeah. You've been in this for a while.
Yeah, I'm in my 12th year of breeding.
Yeah, yeah. So you seen the post-COVID slump that happened?
Oh yeah, it was really bad in 2023, and then 2024 was really ish for a lot of people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a surplus of designer dogs and things like that. Do you consider times like that a purge of the market?
COVID?
Yeah, during that time when you know everything went up, then it went down.
Yeah. So yes, I guess purge could be an interesting word choice, but yes, I mean it fits. Okay. What I saw was a lot of people were like, this would be so easy to sell puppies. I'm going to be a dog breeder. Right. And so remember, when we talk about designing your program, you have how much time are you willing to invest in it? How much work are you willing to put into it? You know, there's a certain level where it won't make sense for you and that there's a limit for everyone. Okay. Like, don't think it makes you a bad person. No, you should know your limit. But that threshold for the return was really low, right? You could do a ton of things and get good money for it and not be really good at breeding. It was easy. Yeah. I remember getting like a phone call every day in COVID. Get puppies, get puppies. I was like so tired of answering puppy phone calls. I'm like, that's weird to be tired of that, right? But I was. And so all these people got into breeding. And so what would happen? The shelters were empty. We saturated the market with breeders. We had a ton of new inexperienced people. We had price disparities everywhere because people thought if I just undercut here, it'll be fine. So it was a big mess. And unfortunately, a lot of breeders who had been doing this for a long time and had big programs and could expand did. And I've met quite a few of them who are now really feeling the crash because they built their program up thinking that they finally hit their flow. People finally understood that I have good dogs, and they do, but they stopped marketing. So everything changed in those 3 years. Marketing's a lot different. Buyers want a lot of different things now. And so now those bigger breeders are feeling this pinch because they expanded. And now they kind of are in a place where they have to produce. Mm-hmm. And now they have to step up their marketing. And I work with a lot of breeders in their 50s and 60s who've been breeding for like 20 years. Amazing dogs. And they just like hate tech. And it's really hard because there's a fair amount of tech involved in breeding now.
Yeah, well, all my friends out there don't get mad at me. But this you made a very tremendous point right there, because the marketing, especially when on Instagram, YouTube, I mean, we got editors, we got cameras. People know how to work cameras. They might not have been the best breeders. They might not have known a lot about dogs, but they could speak well, talk well.
They make it fun.
Video well, and it really impacted. And I think our older breeders feel some kind of way about that. You know,
there's a frustration for sure, and it's what really hurts is they did not have to really worry about selling dogs for years. And now they have to. I talked to, quite a few breeders in 2024 who it wouldn't be unusual for them to have 30 leftover puppies that were over 8 weeks old trying to sell them. I mean, it's just a very common situation for larger breeders. And they were taking good care of them. They were doing their due diligence, but they never worked with marketing older dogs. But going back to your point on the purge of it, yes, when that crash happened, the market was saturated. a lot of those newer breeders who, what happened was the work and reward inverted. It became a ton of work and the reward became a lot lower and the stress became a lot. And so they did exit the market. And I think that's a very good thing. They weren't really breeders. They were capitalizing on an opportunity in the
That's
economy.
True.
And it's still, like you said, they weren't really breeders. So, but that's kind of normalized now. I'm seeing market is stabilizing, but I'm seeing buyers want a ton more transparency. They want to know not just what you do, but why you do it. I don't know if you've seen the stuff. I'm not on TikTok because I'm just at my capacity with stuff, but there's a lot of breeders getting shopped, like secret shoppers on TikTok. Have you seen this?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll be honest with you. I built the website, for this breeder. And she breeds off standard colors. Okay. She is incredible. She has shopped the world for bloodlines. She health tests everything. She does all the things, right? But she has off standard because she loves it. She's a genetic nut. She's just so good at it. And her coefficient of inbreeding is less than 5% on every single dog in her program. Like unreal. Okay. And this lady, even though we were very careful to explain it every place on her website where she, was careful to, look, we breed for this, but color comes after temperament and health, like always, always, always. Yeah. And we've explained that throughout the entire website, every single opportunity. And she got hammered on TikTok because she bred off standard. They said, well, this is a puppy mill. Like it was like off standard, therefore puppy mill, immediate. And I was like, this is like not even accurate. And so these TikTokers are making good money going around shopping you. And you'll know you're getting them because they ask you weird questions, right? I'm pretty sure I got shopped a couple months ago. This lady's like, so like, do you like breed like brothers and sisters, to bring out their traits more readily? And I was like, no, like that'd be kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
And then like, that was the end of the conversation. I was like, were you just shopping me? Like to see if you could pull me as one of these people to highlight on your TikTok. It's just weird. I don't know if breeders are aware of that, but they're calling around asking questions and then they record it and they put you on TikTok. Yeah, they're very weird because a lot of times they are doing this to many breeds. So they're not going to ask you intelligent questions about your breed. So that's kind of a red flag, right? The other thing too is you have to be careful on your website because they'll actually like screen grab pictures from your website and talk about it. So you have to be very careful to have all the information there so that if somebody did go to your site after seeing this, then you have that available. And if you're in one of those weird markets where you do something a little unusual, it doesn't hurt to keep an eye on Reddit. Search yourself once in a while to see if there's some unique threads about you that you can chime in on. I've seen that happen too.
Yeah. It'd be a different story when you actually pull up into those venues and those. Wait a minute, what are you talking about?
Exactly. You're exactly right. And I don't know. So for the buyers out there, it's not that we don't want to explain these. We do want to explain these to us, but come at it with the approach that you want to understand where we were coming from with our decisions. I breed back to back. It's healthier for the mom on so many different levels. It's better for running a program on so many levels. Less dogs to manage, better care for the moms, better quality of life, less, complications with whelping. And, but when you say that, people are like, what do you mean?
And that's been scientifically proven as well.
Oh yeah, they did a huge study on it. And I've even seen it in my own program. My mom has one of my rat terriers, and I didn't have a stud to breed her to. It was related, and I had brought in finally another study came of age, and so we love my mom's dog. She's just perfect structure, and we wanted to breed her. Well, she hadn't had a litter in 2 years, and it was a terrible whelping experience because she had all those. She was her uterus and cervix were out of shape essentially. And it took 6 hours. She had 6 puppies. We lost 2. I mean, it was just really very hard on her. But my dogs that I breed back to back never have problems.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. As buyers become more educated, health tested is becoming like the bare minimum. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So what is the next level of vetting that will separate the elite breeders from the average ones in the next 5 years?
It's knowing who you're breeding for, right? So I have this terrible line. It haunts people, sorry. But it's that we don't sell dogs. We sell the lifestyle that they provide.
Yeah.
And so a breeder doesn't need to know just what their dogs are like and if they meet breed standard and if they're health tested. That means really nothing to you as a buyer. The dog needs to fit into your life. So if you want to take your dog to town and do all these things and take them everywhere and they're going to meet new people, new dogs, new things every day, you need a dog that's an extrovert. And temperament is like 80% genetic. Okay. Like that's what I see. You can change it a bit, but your base material is so heavy. You need the right dog from the start. And, we can see all these things around 4, 5, 6 weeks of age. It's not like it's a mystery. You can figure this stuff out early. But I find that a lot of breeders don't really know who their dogs go to. They don't really know how to speak to them. They aren't understanding where it fits in the lifestyle. And so it creates a double problem. One, you always know like a breeder who doesn't know their buyer, or maybe who doesn't know marketing, because their website very much just talks about what they're breeding for in breeder terms. So it'll be like, we have this health testing. We do ENS. We do ESI. It's like, okay, well, people don't know what those things are. They don't know why it matters. Yeah, so every time you say, I do this, you should follow it up with, and this is why it's important to you. And that helps the buyers understand what they're getting, right? Like come at it from the benefits first. And it's not even about being salesy. It's about being honest, right? Like I don't train my bird dogs. It's a big red flag for a lot of people. And I breed entirely off natural hunting ability. I watch what they do in my yard. I've got 13 acres. I watch how they hunt. I watch what they do. And I breed off that natural ability instead of a dog that maybe has been professionally trained to do something it didn't naturally do. But my dogs consistently perform in the field. And so that's a choice I make, but I have to explain it. And then I have to explain why I do it that way. And then I have to show why this benefits you because, I was like, you don't have to hunt, but you're going to get a bird dog.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Give your dog the best start possible. We offer proven tools, products, and supplements backed by a real world experience and our passion for healthy dogs. While we there on that, working dogs, I've talked to, man, I got over 200 podcast interviews, right?
That's so great.
Right. So, but this is the thing, when we talk about working dogs, why do working dogs work well in families?
Why do they work well in families?
Yeah, because this is kind of I hear this divide sometimes. Working show.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah. And then it's a select few breeders who do some real work with dogs. I'm talking about some hog hunting, dogos. We got some Corso breeders that work them that's adamant about a working dog should just fit in a family just fine. Is that how do you feel about it? Is it a certain thing as working in show?
Yes, I think the biggest gripe where show breeders can get off track. This is not all. It is not. It has to be okay, but this is where it can go. Yes. Show gives you a standard to breed to.
Yes.
It tells you exactly what will win and what will not, and you are riding your success of your program based on those titles and their success in those activities, right, or in that show. So here's an interesting situation, right? You get an idea where you've got 2 dogs to pick from. Okay. You have one puppy who has the perfect structure. This dog is going to make one heck of a show dog. You have another dog who has the perfect temperament for your buyers.
Yeah.
Right? What do you pick? Who do you pick? What if this one's a little bit edgy, right? But it won't be a problem in the show ring, but it'll win. But then you're going to have a litter with 8 puppies and 7 puppies aren't going to be show dogs and they're going to go live in families. So to me, when I looked at doing show, I felt like I couldn't align my decisions because I was either compromising my buyers or compromising my wins. So I thought, well, I just can't. And I like my buyers a whole lot more than titles. So I leaned into selling to my buyers. So I think that's where it can go wrong. Now, on the other side, of course, I live right by the border in Mexico. We have a ton of Border Patrol people. When I had the gun shop, I had a ton of Border Patrol customers come in, and one guy was one of their lead dog trainers, right? And I was like, oh, tell me about this. Because I thought, my dogs are good. They have good noses. They can find people. They can do things. I thought maybe it's an opportunity for me to breed a dog that would be good for something like that. And I said, well, tell me what you want when you're looking for dogs. He says, well, when we do the test, he said 50 or 60 German Shepherds brought over from Germany. Okay. They're like 8 or 9 months old. They're doing these tests. He says, what we do is we play fetch, and we want the dog that needs water, but wants to fetch so bad that he will bypass his need for water to continue to play fetch. And I thought to myself, this is a major problem. Because so driven that they will bypass their physical needs to continue to do the thing. And he said, we need that because we need them to work 36 hours straight sometimes to finish a job. And I said, okay, so let me run this through my head. If I breed a dog that is so driven to not get water, you're telling me he's going to be chasing birds on the mountain when this family's hiking, and he's going to be falling over because he's dehydrated, and they aren't going to know to manage that, right? Border Patrol agents are trained to manage that. And so you're now at a split. How do you breed a dog that's this driven and then is just perfectly fine in a family? Like, that's hard to do. And we've all seen, the Malinois that jump 20 feet, Oh, they scaled this building, no problem. And it's like incredible. But what do you think that dog's going to do when you're busy on your computer for 3 hours? It's going to be on your roof when you get off of work. Like, that's potentially a problem. So can it be done? Absolutely. It can absolutely be done. But you have to pick what is your priority. What I find for most people who are breeding working dogs and successfully placing them in regular family homes, the work either completely aligns with the family. Great example is a cattle dog with a rancher. They're going to go out and chase cows all day. The dog loves it. He's with his owner all day. He's super happy. He comes home and sleeps because he did everything he wanted to do all day. There's no conflict of interest for that dog. His drives are met. So when families have hard time with a working dog at home, it's because the dog's drives are not met. So as a breeder, we have to look at our dog's drives and say, am I placing them in homes where those drives and needs will be met?
Yes, ma'am.
And the lifestyle of the family has to meet those drives in order for it to work for the dog. Otherwise, you'll have what's called like drive leakage, right? Where my dogs get anxious and anxiety. Other dogs try to take control and they can get a little bitey or, so those are your differences. So again, it's finding those families. Now, what I did find, and I'm going to tell you my secret, okay? It's my secret. In my bird dogs, what made them so successful in bird dog training? And this seems so counterintuitive. My dogs, I noticed those 4 dogs that got returned had too much drive for the families, right? So I actually brought the drive down a hair. Instead of being like 90% on the scale, I brought them down to about 75.
Right.
And that little reduction in drive, while at the same time selecting for their orientation towards people.
Right.
So now the dog still loves birds, but he loves hanging out with you. And when you're like, we get to go hunting together, he's like, my 2 favorite things. This is the best thing ever. And so when you take them out to training, they already know to find birds. And then you're just teaching them how to do it with you. And that's what makes them so easy to train. That's why they perform so well. But it was interesting. So I think the breeders who have working dogs that have figured it out are finding families that understand drive, understand how to manage the drive. And then they've also created a dog that likes people and wants to be part of that family. And that looks a little different for each breed. But that's the sweet spot.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna show your website a little bit while we're talking.
Oh, sure.
So they can be. Can you see it?
It's loading. Yep. Good.
Okay. Cool. All right. So contracts. A lot of people don't think contracts are worth the paper they're printed on in a courtroom. What's your thoughts on contracts?
Oh man, it's a can of worms. But let's open it. So with contracts, again, we want expectations. We want to meet the expectations and have everybody be on the same page, right? Because, if you don't have a conversation with your wife about who's expected to take out the trash and both of you think the other person's supposed to do it, right? Like that can create a lot of problems. So our contracts are mostly about making sure we are all on the same page and agreeing to it. Now, I'm also of the mindset that our contract should continue to build rapport. A lot of breeders end up writing a contract that essentially writes them out of any liability. And I don't think that's appropriate. If I sell you a dog and something happens to it in 6 months, that is a congenital defect, I can't always guarantee that I'm responsible for that, but I should try to make it right.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I think that's the balance. So a lot of times, one thing to do is say, like, you can write a minimum, like everything that's in your contract is the minimum you have to do. You can always do more, So I have a genetic health guarantee, right? Which is based on, the genes of the dogs. And if there was something in those genes that created that mess that the buyer has to deal with, then I will take responsibility for it. I have some stipulations, right? Like they don't get to blanketly go run up vet bills, and it's capped at the price of the dog, and so on and so forth.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But I don't like to, but I'm always there. I had a family who had a dog. It was 3 years old, and they had a toddler running around the backyard, and there's a rattlesnake in the backyard. And that dog ran over and protected that kid and got bit by the rattlesnake, which is unusual. Like German short hairs are not like protection dogs at all. They're terrible at it. But this dog did it. It ran interference because she loved that little girl. And about a year later, they had done all the things you're supposed to do with rattlesnake bites, but she ended up just kind of randomly dying as a complication. I don't have any responsibility to replace a dog that was 4 years old and died. It's just not in my contract.
Right.
But they're good people, and they had a really hard thing happen. And so I was able to give them a dog at half off and just make it more possible for them to get back into it,
Yeah. Julie, how long do you think a health guarantee should last?
I really think a minimum 2 years is kind of where it should be. Honestly, like I want to be in a place with my breeding program, or at least this would be like a goal I would recommend, where they can feed the worst food on the market for 2 years, and that dog will still be okay.
Right.
But then I expect, unfortunately, like Kirkland dog food is very popular with some of my buyers. I find my dogs tend to start having some health issues when they turn about 5 or 6 years old if they've been on Costco dog food the whole time. I just start to see like they put on a little extra weight, their coat looks pretty yucky, they can start having some GI issues. And that's just something I see in my dogs when they are on a lesser food. That's how their bodies process it. I have dogs that are like, I have a stud dog who's 11 years old and he's incredible and I'm using him still. So they're fine if they're on good food. So I do my best to educate my buyers, but I can't tell you what you do with your dog once you have it. That's, it's your property in, I think, all but 3 states, it's your property. So my goal is to educate you. So I'm not going to come after you if you don't spay or neuter. So I don't have a spay or neuter requirement. I have a minimum time frame before they can spay or neuter. And that's for your joint health and general metabolism and all that stuff. But the loss, right, is not a fine. The loss is that your health guarantee is void. Right.
What do you feed personally?
I have Nutrisource. I've been using that for quite a few years.
I use that too. Yeah.
It's so good.
I use that large
it's just
puppy.
so good. Yeah, it works really, really nice. The lamb is sourced in New Zealand, and I'm not sponsored by them. I wish I were.
Yeah.
But they're fantastic.
Are you sponsored by anybody?
No, I don't think so.
Hey, look here, y'all. Hey, all the dog food companies. She's been putting in work for years. Why does she doesn't have a sponsorship? I've been going 3 years. I hadn't got a sponsorship neither. What's going on here, Julie?
I know, right? What are we doing wrong? Yeah. No, it's good. I think for me, I'd have to stand behind the product in order to recommend it, right? Like that's important to me. Yeah. But I have tried many variety of food, and I keep coming back to it because, I have larger litters, healthier puppies, less complications. My dogs bounce back, and the weird thing that I'm tracking is now that I've been breeding this long, I'm watching some puppies I've bred die, and my dogs are outliving them consistently, my breeding dogs. So when people are telling you that, oh, it's so hard for them to be breeders, it's like, or not, because mine are in better shape better shape at 9, 10, 11 years old than these dogs at 8.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'm gonna stick this one in here because it crossed my mind.
All right.
Breeders get frustrated by one saying sometimes. And I'm a little bit impartial on it. And it's the phrase, well, let me check with my wife.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I know that really ticks some breeders off, right? When people say that because they feel like they're getting blown off and you should have checked with your wife, or why are you asking your wife, and do you work for her and all this? But it doesn't bother me because it's just something that telling me they want more time. And if they really were telling the truth about it, to me, they are bringing another family member in. I mean, it's just something you just don't go.
Right. Could you imagine if my husband just like randomly brought home like a new dog, like, and didn't tell me?
Right.
Yeah, that'd be rough, right?
Yeah.
That'd be rough. So no, I think it's good. I think people like to save face, right? So it's easier to blame your spouse. I can't have one because of my spouse, right? So maybe they can't afford it and they're looking for a way to make it save face while they turn you down.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. We want to have everybody on the same page in the family. And I know a lot of breeders put in their application, I need to talk to everybody in the family, or I need to know about every single person in the household. And it's like, okay, like I'm not like Big Brother. I'm not going to like come in your house and make sure it's up to my standards. Like I trust you. You're good people. Most my buyers are great people. They genuinely care about the dog. Where they may run into issues is things they are unaware of that I am supposed to be aware of because I'm the breeder. That's the goal, right? My job is to help you see opportunities where you may struggle, help you figure out if there's a plan of action that'll work for you. And if not, then maybe we're not a good fit, and that's okay.
Yeah. And then sometimes too, not sometimes, a lot of times, some of the clients, your customers, are already sold on you. They have studied you from.
Do you want to know? You want to know the secret there?
What's that?
So, all right, I'm going to put this out there. My average phone call before somebody wants to give me a deposit is 13 minutes. That's it. Now, here's why. Because everything that they encounter that's of my brand is sorting them the whole time. I'm selling the lifestyle, but I'm also selling the lifestyle and things that they struggle with. If your dogs drool, I want to see pictures of drooling dogs and stains on pants all over your website. Okay? Not every single picture, but I do not want it to be a secret. I don't want people to get a dog like a Mastiff and then be like, I don't know they drooled. They should know this way ahead of time, right? My dogs jump fences. So it's nice on occasion to take a post of one of my dogs, like a video a buyer sends me, jumping on top of their 6-foot block wall and walking across it. Because if you're going to get a German short hair, that's a superstar athlete, you should know what they're capable of. So then we can see these things. And what will happen is some people are like, that's incredible. I want one of those. And other people are going to be like, that's a nightmare. I do not want that. And this is why my marketing works well, because I have all these images. I show them hunting. I show them with families. But I do it in a way where if somebody just wants to throw them in a kennel in the backyard, they're not going to think my dogs are intense enough, which is great because I don't want my dogs living in those homes. And so my marketing, my website, everything I'm doing is constantly either attracting or repelling people. And so this is where the ideal buyer comes in, the ideal puppy buyer, is who would you ideally love your dogs to go live with? What is that ideal person? And I recommend you bring them to life with actually like giving them names and a story and really make them real, because then every breeding decision you make, you can run it by this fake couple, like mine are Kate and Ryan. Well, would Kate and Ryan really like this? No, they'd probably do better here. So if I'm making a stud decision, what's a better pairing for Kate and Ryan? I need to go bigger or smaller with my dogs? Oh, what's better for Kate and Ryan? I need to put a picture up on Instagram. What does Kate and Ryan need to know? And I'm always reflecting it back to this ideal buyer. And what this does is it gives me clarity on every breeding decision because I know who I'm marketing for. And I'll tell you what the funniest thing in the world was. Last year, I had a couple call me for a dog, and they were actually Kate and Ryan, which is pretty funny.
Really? Yeah. It's funny. It's funny.
But,
yeah. So, in the 13-minute, that's a good point, because like that's about how long it takes. It's like they just want to verify this you.
Okay, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Nothing you tell them should be new information. And this goes back to the contract question. Right. When you are writing your contract, the first time the buyers see it, something in your contract should not be in your contract. They should have read it on your website. They should have heard it from you on the phone. All these things should be ready so that when they see it, it just confirms, oh yeah, everything about this person makes sense. And that is the real transparency we're going for, building the authority, building the relationship and the rapport with our buyers. That's why it becomes a relationship, but you're on the hook, right? You have to stand behind what you do. And I think that's fair. You know, I meet a lot of breeders who are trying to absolve themselves of all liability. And I said, well, you shouldn't. Like you should take responsibility if something's wrong.
Exactly. And when and once they have a good idea, I know this from running another business. Once they have a good idea and they contact you, they start speaking your language back to you.
They use your words. They use, yes, exactly. Yeah, that's when you know you've really done your work well.
Yeah, you touched them. Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Adopt, don't shop.
Ooh,
adopt, don't shop. What's your thought?
All right. Do you want to know the biggest problem with adopt, don't shop?
To talk to me, sister.
Adopt, don't shop mixes up two concepts, right? It conflates them. And it says, in their minds, like, so we can all agree, every breeder, every person, everyone out there, everybody says all dogs are worth loving. Nobody ever says no dog isn't worth loving. Okay. Right. But that doesn't, like, adopt, don't shop implies that all dogs will work for you. So any dog will work for a family. Yeah. But they're saying because any dog will work for you, all dogs are worth loving. But it's like, no, but this dog isn't a good fit for this person. Right. And so this is the big difference. And so we just need to be honest about our expectations. And so here's an interesting thing. You know, again, breeding working dogs is easy. Nobody seems to question why a working dog should come from a breeder. Well, when are you going to get a bird dog at a shelter? Like, that's not going to happen. So then, but when you have a dog, when somebody wants a companion, you know, that's where these people are, well, this dog will be a great companion. It's like, but would it? You know, I had talked to Matt Beisner, and I remember the statistic he told me, and he said 95% of aggression in dogs is fear-based. That's a really interesting statistic, right? And if we know that temperament is about 80% genetic, and we know that their capacity to handle things that come up that are unexpected, their fear reaction, if you will, is part of their temperament. So now we have 80% of this is based on the breeder. And so if you add to that a complicated situation like a shelter and rescue where the dog has been handed off between multiple homes, maybe to a home, the family didn't know what to do in training, they didn't have a support network like a breeder to call. So then they get frustrated, they bring the dog back. This dog has had so many bad situations with people, it's going to have a hard time trusting people. And if it has a temperament that's scared, it's going to be more likely to bite. And I have two little kids. I mean, they're getting a little older now, not as cute as they used to be, but they are, like, when they were little, 3 and 5 years old. Do you think I was going to just go get any dog that might bite my kids and take it to my house? Like, I could never do that. That would never work. Right. I couldn't. It's just it's too much of a risk. And what I realized a long time ago is that if many buyers who buy from breeders, if the only option to buy a dog was going to a shelter, they would simply not buy a dog. That's right. My buyers are not taking dogs away from shelter purchases like they are. They just wouldn't get one. Right. And people have a right to know what they're getting into and what to expect. That's true. And so and not make them feel guilty about shopping with a breeder. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. And I think one thing that's really it's really sad, right? You know, is you can have a dog that has so many bad experiences that it is so scared of people and so reactive. And, you know, some dogs, like my dogs, when you yell at them, my GSPs, like, they crumble, like their soul gets crushed and they're like, oh, I thought you loved me, you know, like that's their reaction. It makes them very not dangerous, right? That's why they use them for search and rescue and other delicate situations. But I don't worry about them biting kids. But you take like a German Shepherd, and they're going to be like, you're not controlling the situation, you know, and they're more likely to get frustrated and bite. And that's nothing wrong. That's the breed, right? This is not wrong. But, you know, I can't bring that into my home if it's unpredictable, if it's bred with too much drive, or if it's bred with an inconsistent. I think it's so hard. Imagine a dog that is bred to work with you like a cattle dog, right? It's supposed to, it constantly checks back with the person. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. And then what if that dog is on the farm with a livestock guardian that's watching the sheep? Right. And now this dog is bred to be up all night, very independent. I don't want to ask your opinion. I got this handled. I'll see you later. And then those two dogs accidentally breed. And now you've got a half cattle dog and you have a half livestock guardian dog in a shelter. Right. Where will that dog succeed? I mean, some of the litter might be one way, some of the litter the other. Who's doing temperament testing? Who's going to be there to educate the buyers and help them be successful?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's hard.
It is. Hey, so on this next segment, I'm getting ready to kind of wrap this up here in a second. But I want you to do a deep dive on your program for breeders so they can thoroughly understand what's in there, what they're going to get, how it benefits them, and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I opened up the Honest Dog Breeder Society a couple years ago. I used to call it the Dog Breeder Society, but we did a vote and we've changed it now to Honest Dog Breeder Society.
And that's why you're here, because you're the honest dog breeder.
Yeah. The honest truth, right? Like, I'll be honest with you either way. Right. But with that, you have decision frameworks. So what I've seen consistently working with hundreds and hundreds of breeders is not a single breeding program looks the same. They're all different. Every single one of them is different. And that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. As a breeder, you have to decide what success is for you, what success is for your dogs, what success is for your buyer. And then you have to go build a program that will meet that. And so you have to do everything based on good decisions. And so good breeders make good decisions. Yes. Right? We had this recently, I told this terrible story. I'll tell it's like 30 seconds. But it's there's this new couple. They got married and they move into their apartment and they want to invite some friends over. And so they got a ham. And so she cuts off the butt of the ham, throws it out and puts it in the oven. And his husband's like, what are you doing? That was good ham. And she's like, I don't know. My mother always did that. So then the mother, he's like, call your mom, find out why she does that. So calls mom. She says, I have no idea why we do that. My mom always did it. So then they call a grandmother and she's like, what? She says, I had a really tiny oven. It was the only way it would fit. Right. And so sometimes we inherit decisions from other breeders, from other programs, from other breeds or other cultures that don't work for us. I have 4 moms, right? Like my breeding program it's decent, but it's not monstrous. What I need to do to manage 4 moms is going to be different than somebody who has 2 moms. And it's going to be different than someone who has 12. Yeah. I need to make a decision for my program. And so inside the Honest Dog Breeder Society, I teach you the decision frameworks. I teach you all the pros and cons. I teach you here's where this will be maybe beneficial. Here's where you may struggle with this decision so that you have all the resources to make this decision yourself and what will be best for you in your program. Because I can't tell you what will work for you. I have to show you your opportunity and your options, like your opportunities and your options. And then you have to pick what works for you. And I'm going to help you just walk through that. And so that's what all of my courses are. So every month we come out with a masterclass. It's about an hour long. And we will deep dive into one part of breeding and then we'll go into it. And I will say they're primarily marketing and business oriented. We're doing a little bit with facilities this year. People management, trying to keep that going for you is huge. Yeah. When you look at breeding, it is not infinitely scalable. You start to push boundaries on integrity and quality and care. And so it is not infinitely scalable. And what happens is if you were to infinitely scale honestly or with integrity, you would be hiring people. But then you really have to work hard to create a product that can sell for more to compensate for that gap that's going to go to employees. So that becomes a different kind of complication. And so you're welcome to do anything you want. I'm not going to tell you no, but hold your standards. And so I help people figure out what works for them and what doesn't. But I would say the average breeder who comes into the society generally raises their price by $500 to $1,000 within the first year, and has much easier time selling their puppies. Those are the 2 things that I consistently see.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Would it be any husbandry topics or anything in the program?
There's some stuff. Yep. I've done some on the raw diet. I do have an herbal dewormer that I produce. I had a goat dewormer that I used for a long time, and I had struggled with coccidia, giardia, and that stuff. And so we do have educational materials on those. Or if you want, swanessentials.com, you can go and buy bulk.
Was that the magic oil? The magic oil you're talking about?
Oh, I have Moom too. Yeah. So Moom, magic oregano oil mix. I know, terrible creative name, not creative. But it needed a name. But basically I had giardia. I'd lost, in my second batch of litters, I lost 8 puppies to giardia, and nobody knew what it was. It wasn't very well understood back then. And so I'm pouring over the internet. Everybody's like, oh, it's parvo. It wasn't parvo.
Right.
But it was giardia. And so I found that you can take oregano oil and you can dilute it in olive oil. It doesn't have to be olive oil, but something that's liquid at room temperature. And you just kind of mix them together. And that dosing, I have all the details on the website, but that dosing really takes care of the giardia in a way that metronidazole would wipe their GI, make them very susceptible again. And fenbendazole seemed to be very ineffective for many breeders, so including myself. So anyway, so that's in there. You can buy the oregano oil I use. I have that there. We tested a bunch of them, and this is the one we like the best. So that's in there. And then the herbal dewormer is great. It helps with coccidia and helminths. So like roundworms, hookworms, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Besides just the knowledge in dog breeding, which I'm sure you'll give that in the program. Do you teach organization skills, things like that?
Yes. Are you referring to mostly like business admin and
business?
Yes, I do. I have 2 classes on know your numbers. So 2 things that are really like problematic for breeders is understanding their finances, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We get giant swings of money and then we're broke, right? It's very up and down. So like a quick technique that we teach is when you look at your puppy deposit or reservation fee, however you want to call it, it should be between 20 and 33% of your puppy price. And I want you to be collecting deposits all year round. And so if you look at it, you would ideally want to, if you're running into cash flow problems, then increase and go to a higher puppy deposit amount. And that way you can run off your puppy deposits. That can be your overhead. And then when you get that large sum of money, when the rest of when the litter goes home, then you can direct that to something that moves your program forward or your own finances. Yep. Okay.
Right.
So, yeah.
I'm sorry,
so I do that.
I'm sorry, but you keep making me think of questions. So
no, it's fine. I have plenty of time.
Okay. Lowe's, you got a little bit more time. No more than 30 minutes, I promise.
No, you're fine.
So deposits, while we on that, I was reading that you don't do non-refundable deposits, right?
I do 50% refundable.
Okay. So why do you do it that way?
So 2 reasons. One, a lot more purchases are coming through with credit cards. And it's hard to fight a credit. That's a time-consuming thing to fight credit cards. Okay. Right. So if somebody says, "Oh, I never got my dog," then you're fighting a credit card company, and that's difficult. Right. But more so, it's the goodwill, right? If I come in and I say, "Okay, my deposit's $800," and then 50% refundable. So a lot of breeders will say, "Well, it's only refundable in these circumstances." So then what happens is, these people are like, "Well, she's only going to believe it if I lie to her about this." So they start telling me, "Oh, I had this problem and I had this problem, and my mother died. Now I need this, We don't want our buyers to have to lie to us, like, ever. It's not good information. So by making it 50% refundable, no questions asked. Just tell me you want it back. I'll send it to you within 2 days. Always. And it makes it so easy. They feel like, there's a trust there. They feel like you're not taking advantage of them. Just the same, right? If they pay for a deposit and they don't get it back, right? Because it's non-refundable.
Right.
When does that expire? Right? Do they always have a credit at your breeding program? Do you have an expiration put in there? Have they signed any paperwork for you? I have my people sign my contract before they give me money. I said, sign my whole contract before you send me. That way you know exactly what to expect from me. There's no surprises. Here are 2 things you're going to want to read in my contract. And then when you're comfortable, send me. send me the deposit. And I have not had a single problem since that process 4 years ago.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. One time I encountered a guy that gave me a deposit, and then he hit me up out the blues like, man, I found another dog somewhere. And I didn't even waste my time fighting. I was like, man, here's your money back. Because he was one of those buyers that was he was just looking for, he was impulse buyer. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
and that can happen more with certain breeds, not necessarily yours, but just I see that in some breeds. My GSP buyers are much more impulsive than my rat terrier buyers.
Really? Oh, so you do rat terriers too, huh?
Yeah, they're so cute. They're so sweet.
Yeah.
They're like a secret in the world. I really feel like once the world finds out about them, they'll take over. But no, I agree. And then the other thing too is I don't want a deposit serves to have them have skin in the game, right? There's a huge mindset shift that happens when a buyer places a deposit, right? Until they place a deposit, they're in waiting mode. They're still shopping. They're still looking. Nothing's set in stone. The second they place that deposit, their mind shifts from finding a puppy to preparing for a puppy. You want that to happen. Yeah. Because it takes them out of the market thinking about them, and you won't lose them. So you need them to put money down and start getting ready. That's good for them. But then if they back out later, right, that becomes a problem for you. And I need there to be some kind of skin in the game, because for some people, even an $1,000 deposit is not a lot of money. And I can't have them saying, oh yeah, I'm going to get one from you, and then back out at 8 weeks and then expect to get money back, right? All of it. So that's not good.
What the toughest part besides finding a puppy, finding the right breeder, I say, is the weight gain for the client. It's like Christmas. What is your protocol on keeping them calmed down, update them? Because it is like waiting on Christmas.
It is. Yeah. And are you referring mostly to the people who, like, the puppies are born and they're not home yet, and they're like,
they're not home yet, but they know they coming.
Yes. Yeah. So two things. For breeders who have been kind and generous in the past with photos, and they start bothering you every other day, can I get new photos? Can I get you new photos? What you need to do is set a standard. I will update photos every Sunday or every other Sunday if you're super busy. I get it. You got little kids. There's no way you can be doing photos every week. No. So tell them when they're going to get their photos. And then when they start texting you, you're like, oh, can you just sneak one? And be like, oh, yeah, I'm so excited for you to see the photos on Sunday. And just kind of reiterate it so that you hold that standard. Because you have to keep some boundaries. But then the other thing I do is I have an email series that I send out through Honeybook. So I really like Honeybook as a software. But they have automated email series that you can send out. And so I have one that I've put together that has 12 different emails. And so around the time, usually like when the first question about dog food comes in, which is usually around 4 weeks, that's when I start sending them these emails. And so I send them an email like every day or every other day. And so they get those for a couple weeks at the same time as they're preparing. And so they have all the time to get ready. So now their attention is shifted towards what email I'm sending. And so I do a survey after my puppies go home, about 3 to 4 weeks after they go home. And I ask people, what helped you prepare best for your dog? And I ask them, was it talking with me? Was it, information you found on YouTube? Was it my puppy guide? Was it my email series? And I would say about 70% of the time, they tell me it was the email series, because it's written to be just enough information to give them what they need without wasting their time. It's very easy to read.
Right. And you just said something crucial that I learned in just business, period. Ask the client. Don't always make decisions for yourself. Ask them what they like. And then you know what to give them. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Running polls, things like that. People slip on that. You know what I mean?
It's so silly, because sometimes all you need is one client to say something to you. I remember I have a buyer for the rat terriers. She was like, I just been doing my research, and I love Chihuahuas, but I realized the rat terriers are just like a more healthy, stronger version of them. And I was like, that's a huge marketing thing. Yes, I breed a healthier Chihuahua that's more durable around children. Perfect. So I wrote a blog article about a healthier, more alternative, durable alternative to a Chihuahua. Right. Pitch my program. You can always learn so much every time you're talking to people.
That's right. 100%. Let me ask you about this aspect of the dog industry. and that's facilities. You
Sure.
got the old world versus new world. You even have some cultural differences as far as the upkeep of dogs. Now, when I say culture, I just mean about how people do things. Being that I'm in the South, we like hard dogs. We think they should be able to take some elements, different aspects, and things like
you're
that.
not dealing with freezing temperatures either, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. But
are you?
Yeah, but we got to bring them in.
You're not that far south. Okay.
Yeah, we ain't gonna just leave them out there like that. But we kind of like the South is a harder dog culture. It's a lot of hunting, a lot of different things like that. But as far as the upkeep, the facility, what is your protocol on that?
It will come down to what your dogs need, right? Like, so your canine Corsos are going to need a little bit different thing than a Yorkie. So we have to build our facilities design around our dogs, right? But we have major standards, right? So if you're running into fertility problems, small litters, worms, nasty coats, or anxiety, sometimes anxiety is worm related. I've seen that a lot with dogs. Your dogs should be healthy. So that's the bare minimum. What do we need to do to make them healthy? Okay. Now that doesn't mean we aren't letting them have natural stressors. A little bit of being out in a cooler day is not a big deal, right? They don't need to be babied and pampered all the time. I understand that.
Right.
So you have to create what's reasonable for you. And then here's the other part that kind of sucks, but it is realistic, is what do our buyers want to see? And then where are we? Because again, going back to, am I going to have 6 GSPs sleeping in my bed? Absolutely not. That's not even healthy. Okay. So I have to talk enough about what I'm doing so there's transparency, but I also need to do what's right for my dogs. And so if I talk about how, well, Arizona's never really cold. So my dogs are outside almost all the time, like almost exclusively
Y'all
outside.
get pretty hot though. Ooh.
I'm about a mile high, so we're actually not too bad.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's nice. But like our coldest temps will be 20s. And then our highest temps will be like 100, 110. It's not too bad.
Oh, okay. What? But y'all got that dry heat, right?
It's dry. So like if you're in the shade, it's already like 10, 15 degrees cooler. So my dogs always have shade. They have indoor, outdoor areas, but it's not climate controlled because they don't really need it. We use
I didn't know y'all get down to about 20 degrees.
Well,
yeah.
It's the desert's weird because we have like a 60-degree range in 24 hours.
Right. Yeah, I forget.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
But it always warms up during the day.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. But anyway, so like my buyers, they might think that that's ridiculous that my dogs aren't coming in or something like that at night every night. But they're fine. They have their area, they are taken care of, they have their space, and their needs are met. And that's really the difference. But knowing that my buyers want their dog to be a house dog that's sleeping on the couch with them or on the floor next to them, those are more of the, I need to take advantage of those things when they're happening. So like my pregnant moms, they live with us inside as house dogs when they're pregnant. And then they get rotated. And so that's how we kind of do it. So they get their time in being an only house dog, and then they have puppies and they get pampered when they have puppies. And then they go back out for, a couple months and just be dogs. And then we rotate. And so that's how I kind of
exactly how we do it. We even rotate from my kennel over here on this acre to dogs that's behind our house. And we just kind of they get closer to us. Then like the moms, they come in when it's time to have
exactly
babies and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think that's good for the dogs. Like if I see one that's kind of acting a little bit like
if they need something, right? You just
just bring them closer.
Take care of them.
Interact.
And we always have that available, and we should always take advantage of it. But I think what would be unrealistic is for them to think that none of my dogs ever are in crates or are never, like if they're all inside every night, like that would be a nightmare. Like you can have all my dogs inside my living room. I'd be divorced. So so.
Well, Julie, hey, I know this was already be a tremendous interview. Like I said, I've been watching you for years. I thought the time was right now. I'd like to thank my boy Martin at Furzer American Bulldog. I was like, man, I'm having trouble finding her number. He said, oh, here it is right here. He sent me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So, we appreciate you. And one more time, they want to find you. Could you tell them about your websites? I think you got a podcast still going, different things.
Yep, I've got the podcast. I've recently moved to YouTube last year. So that's a whole new can of worms, but it's fun. But honestdogbreeder.com is there. You can type in Julie Swan and dog breeder. I come up on the internet pretty easy. Yeah. My YouTube channel is like at J Swan, but you can just type in Honest Dog Breeder Podcast. And then I'm on Spotify, of course, and Apple Podcasts and all that. Cool, so you're welcome to check it out. If you guys have questions, let me know. I'm always looking for feedback and what people want to learn. So.
Right. I'm going to call you back. We're going to do this again.
That was great. Thanks so much. It was so great to be here.
Okay. You have a good day.
You too. Bye.
I'm out.
Step into the realm of canine wisdom with our podcast, NWA Connie Corsos, where we interview dog men and women from around the globe. Discover their talents and insights on breeding, training, nutrition, and the rich history of dogs. Tune in to the most underrated yet influential dog podcast on social media. Your journey into the dog world starts here.